So, when it comes to these Parshas, all of these, collection of, I think that 4.5 Parshas we have in a row, where it's all about, and mostly about, one particular subject, the Binyan of Mishkan. And I don't know the secret, why certain things, it's a little bit mystifying, you have to spend some time figuring out why certain things are relegated to Torah Sheba'al Peh, and certain things are written in Torah Shebiksav. 14 years that Yaakov Avinu was in Shem Ve'ever, it's hidden, right? Other things that happen, conversations that people have, thank you, no thank you, is spelled out in longhand, right? And so here we have the building of the Mishkan. We have 4.5 chunky parshas that are dealing with the building of the Mishkan, and it's an event from a historical event. It's not something that's acted upon on a daily basis in any way. So it doesn't have like a daily relevance to it, and yet we're spending a lot of time going over the details and repeating sometimes many details. And any letter that's missing from a Sefer Torah, we understand the Sefer Torah is rendered puzzle. Every letter is Kodesh Kedoshim. So why is that spelled out so explicitly and repeated so many times? And things that we do every day or every week, or that have serious consequences to them. I don't know, Shabbos, 1/3 of Ohr Chaim Shulchan Aruch is Hilchos Shabbos. And we have only one mention over here in this week's Parsha, Lo Sivaro Eish B'chol Moshe V'Secha B'Yom HaShabbos. Don't lie, that's the only explicit malacha which is mentioned. Everything else is learned out from the building of the Mishkan, but it's B'derech Remes. So why is that? We put on tefillin every day. And it says, Vayulo Totafos Beinei Necha. Now go and pick up on the 30,000 details that go into the construction of the tefillin. Why is it like that? Why is that left, tucked away in for Torah Sheba'al Peh? And other things like this are spelled out over and over again. It's a little bit mystifying. And you come to Shul, I don't want to be irreverent over here, but you can imagine that the Baal Korah himself, and certainly the people that are sitting in the Shul, by the time they're ready getting to, but next week's Parsha already, then they're hearing about it again for the 5th time, their eyes are rolling in the back of their head, and they're probably looking at themselves and looking at their watch and wondering, we go through this exercise every year, now for thousands of years we're doing this. Why is it written? Why is it so amplified? Why is it so spelled out? All the details of something which has no daily relevance, to our life. And other things that we're doing daily are obscured. It's a kasha. It's a question. So where do we begin to look for an answer? So I want to propose an answer. I don't want to leave it just as an open-ended discussion. I think maybe we find a hint. We got to go way back into Sefer Bereshis, Parshas Chayesara, and we find a similar type of a thing that happened over there. And what's that?
Eliezer and the Shidduch.
What's that?
Eliezer and the Shidduch.
Eliezer Eved Avraham. Yeah, his name. Yeah, the Shidduch. He's somebody. He's not even a Jew. He's a guy, right? And his daughter. He had Negias. His daughter was not even worthy. Ein Ara Davik Baruch is not worthy to be married to Avram Avinu. It's not a Shidduch for him, for Avram Avinu's family, Eliezer. He's a nice guy, and his name is not mentioned once in the Parsha. But you see over there that for some reason he's dedicated. He's loyal, and he's assisting Avraham Avinu. Wow, we're not against goyim, right? You see that if the Rambam says if a goy is helping Klal Yisrael, is getting an assist with Klal Yisrael, he believes in Klal Yisrael, so he has something. He has a place. He can have a place in Olam Haba. What? Yeah, a person. Yeah, if anybody's going to help Klal Yisrael, I can't reach the basket myself. Ezuhu chacham hamakris makom. One of the definitions of a wise person recognizes his place. I can't get the ball to the basket. I'm not that tall, but I'll pass it to the guy who can dunk it into the basket. He'll get the dunk. I can't do it myself. Avram Avinu, he can be Davik and a Kodesh Baruch Hu, so I'll help him. I'll give him an assist. I'll saddle his donkey for him. I'll carry his bags for him. And that's and I know I'm doing something good for the world. I'm happy to be a part of it. Kol hakavod shelo. And the Torah tells us, it tells us the whole narrative, what happened, how we met Rivka by the well and everything like that. And then finally we get to the part where he meets the family. And okay, he said he met the family and he told them, the Torah could have said, and he told them what happened. And that would have been sufficient. But no, he says, I came today, and the Chumash goes through this whole narrative one more time, telling us what he told them about what we just heard about what just happened. Yeah, and Rashi must be bothered with the same question the way we're bothered by the Mishkan. How come he's getting so much airtime and so much explanations? He gets more airtime than almost anybody in Chumash. Yitzchak, we hardly even hear a few words from him. And he's one of the Avos. And all these little halachas that we mentioned before also that don't get as much attention. And here, Eliezer Eved Avram, in our Sefer Torah, our holy Sefer Torah, is repeating words and repeating a story that we just witnessed the story. We just heard the story being explained exactly what happened. And he says, maybe he switched a few details over there. Okay, that's for another discussion. So Rashi says over there something which may be the hint for over here. So he says, Amar Rabbi Acha, Amar Rabbi Acha. He says, Yofa sichasan shel avdei avos lifnei hamakam mitorasan shel bonim. There's something yafa, something beautiful. Yafa, there's something shining, something special about over here. What's so special? We see dedication. You see a man who's dedicated. You see a man who's humbled himself and nullified himself. He made himself into a zero, and that's how he became a hero. Is by eliminating his ego and doing the ratzon of Avram Avinu. We see what an Eved Hashem is from him. We see what an Eved Hashem is. You nullify yourself to do what the ratzon of a higher authority. And so the Torah is emphasizing it and highlighting it. I like to highlight things. One of the things I like to do. Here's one of my the Kavi Yasher says. He says on the Mishnah Pirkei Avos, Kanei lacha chaver. Kaneh means acquire for yourself a friend, but a kaneh can also be a pen. Let your pen be a friend. One of my favorite friends over here. One of my two important friends, besides the little notebooks and all the papers and everything that I have in my pocket to write something down, and I'm highlighting stuff. I'm highlighting in the Chumash also, highlighting in the Siddur, highlighting all over the place, because I want to find my way back to that quickly. Something caught my attention. So this is worth highlighting. Kodesh Baruch Hu is highlighting this point over here. Wow! Look at this. Look what the man is doing. Look what a person can make out of himself. Look at how a person can subdue himself and can control himself and can dedicate himself. Wow! I just want to, that Kodesh Baruch Hu is highlighting that for us and highlighting what HaKadosh Baruch Hu finds yafa, what HaKadosh Baruch Hu finds pleasant and profound in this world. And maybe we can say like this. I once heard, I don't know if the concept from the Chafetz Chaim. He says that there is a map in the earth, in this earth that we know about, and there's a map in Shemayim also. He says the map on the earth, we know what can be found on the map of this earth. Which places, the big cities in the world, right? Okay, in our time, okay, we have Paris, and we have New York, and we have Los Angeles, and we have the Chafetz Chaim's time. Okay, you probably still had also some of the big cities like Paris and Berlin. And he says, so there's a map on this earth. The places that have millions and tens of millions of people, like in Mexico City, wow. So those are the places that get the big dot on the map, and everybody, those are important places. He says there's a map in Shemayim, and the map in Shemayim has a different value on it. The map in Shemayim, maybe in the Chafetz Chaim's time, it's Vilna and Slobodka, and maybe Yerushalayim was also starting to build up at that time, and maybe Svat, who knows, which places, those cities where Torah is being learned, and people are keeping the Dalar Amal Shel Halacha. What does the Gemara says? Mishacharev Bais Medrash Ohr lo l'Kodesh Baruch Hu Dalar Amal Shel Halacha Bilvad. So those are the places that are important in Shemayim. So maybe on the earth we're going by populations and numbers. But when it comes to Shemayim, we're looking to see, who has Yerushalayim, who's keeping the Dalar Amal Shel Halacha. I think they said that Rabbi Simpson Raphael Hirsch, he had the largest rabbinical position in Moravia. He had oversight over 500 synagogues in the Austro-Hungary Empire, something like that. And he left to join 11 struggling families in Frankfurt. And they asked him, how do you leave such a big rabbinical position to join, these straggling and struggling few? And his answer was, he says, because the Kodesh Baruch Hu doesn't count Jews. He weighs them. That's why I feel so good after Shabbos, So he said, you got people over here that are struggling against the ravages of reform. Those 11 people, are Shokul Keneged. So you have people who are Shokul Keneged. So here you have people that, so there's a map in the Shemayim, and there's a map in the Aretz. And we see the difference between them and what matters. So I wanted to take a little bit of a poetic license over here and say something that just like there's a newspaper on this world, and we know what's in the newspaper in this world. We don't have to, shop around too far. We don't have to open our ears too wide to chaparine and to figure out what's going on, what's important, what's getting the attention, what's not getting the attention in this world. And it's Allah Shlech de Zachen. Who set fire to what, and who threw a bomb over here, and who harmed who, and who said what nasty, all those different things, and who's fighting with whom, and how many people perished over here, and all those things, and who's declaring war, and all the crazy things, and who robbed who, and who got into trouble, and who's now going to spend the rest of his life by what happened in all those situations. We hear all the bad news. Right? That's what's going on in the world. But when it comes to I want to take a poetic license and say that there's a newspaper here on the earth, and there's a newspaper in Shemayim also. Yeah. By the way, I have a poetic license. It was revoked, okay, because I backed over a mixed metaphor. But it will be reinstated. There's a statute of limitations, okay. So in any case, I'd like to take the license and say that there's a map. There's a newspaper in Shemayim. What's in the newspaper in Shemayim? I don't think we have to also look too far to find out what's in the newspaper in Shemayim. What's in the newspaper in Shemayim? The Torah is our newspaper in Shemayim. The Talmud says, "Ain't Tov el Torah." Kodesh Baruch Hu is looking for the Torah. We see that the things that Kodesh Baruch Hu was focused on, he went through all the different nations, all the 70 nations, until he found Avraham Avinu, because Avraham Avinu found him. So Kodesh Baruch Hu wants him, because he wanted a Kodesh Baruch Hu. He says the Gemara, it tells us in Psakim, Rahman Aliba, but Kodesh Baruch Hu wants the heart. That's what Kodesh Baruch Hu wants, the heart. He's looking for somebody to give attention back. So Kodesh Baruch Hu wants the heart. I would say Rahman Aliba boy. You can learn the same mimer and say Rahman Aliba boy. What does the heart want? The heart wants Rahmana. That we want Hashem. Hashem wants the heart that wants him. So Avraham Avinu, Kodesh Baruch Hu found Avraham Avinu, found somebody who was looking for him. It was Mavakesh Kodesh Baruch Hu. Yismach Leid, Mavakesh Hashem. So he found somebody who was looking for Hashem, and then the Torah never left the spotlight of history forever. Avraham Avinu, when his children, so the Yitzhak went one direction, and he had a son that went this way, and a brother that went that way, and they walked off to the stage of history. But Kodesh Baruch Hu stayed focused, and those people who are staying focused on the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Those who invited the Kodesh Baruch Hu into the world. From the beginning of history, it was the Ruach Elohim Merachevas al Panei Hamayim. Kodesh Baruch Hu was looking for a place to land in this world. Looking for a place to land. Who's inviting me? They said the Chutzker Rebbe, when he was a young child, a very precocious child. So his Rebbe asked him, where can the Kodesh Baruch Hu be found? And he says he's everywhere. Okay. There's no place that doesn't have a Kodesh Baruch Hu. So what do you mean? And he said no. He says, where can Hashem be found? It's a Mefurish Uncle Moshe. He's here, there, and everywhere. And he said no. Until he was confounded, and he looked at Rabbi. So what's the answer? He says, wherever he's invited in. Wherever Kodesh Baruch Hu invited. Kodesh Baruch Hu was waiting for an invitation. Avraham Avinu invited him in. So now we want to say in the map in Shemayim, and in the newspaper in Shemayim, what's happening over there? Kodesh Baruch Hu is highlighting things that are valuable, Klapi Shemayim, valuable to a Kodesh Baruch Hu. So, maybe it's a parenting tip or a teaching tip, but you see that when you I was in many classes today, and sometimes the Rebbe stepped out or there was nobody there until the Rebbe came in, and it takes a few minutes, but he can settle a class. And even at the Shabbos table or Pesach Seder, you can settle everybody down. Sometimes it's a little overwhelming. You got all these people and everybody's doing different things. I can tell you different tips on how to make sure that it doesn't go right. And that is, you start pointing out all the things that just stop hitting him. Leave him alone, please. That's not your thing. Why are you touching him? Will you leave him alone? I tell you, if you're going to touch him again, then you're going to not going to be here for that. The more negative things that you're going to focus on, the more you're going to promote and encourage those negative things to happen, because that's just the way that it works. And that's what the news is doing constantly, that this one is getting attention and somebody else is going to copycat and somebody else is going to do the same thing, because you're giving negative attention to all the negative things that are happening. That's what the newspaper is doing. It's setting a fire to the world. But if you walk into a class or you stand in front of your family and say, oh, I like the way Tani is sitting. He's listening so nicely. His ears are open. I can hear him thinking, wow, that's beautiful. I love the way you're sitting. Everybody's sitting so nicely and you're all listening. And the more you're giving a compliment to what people are doing well and that they're doing. I sat in the class, the kids were jumping on and I said, oh, I like the way, look at the way he's sitting over here. Next thing you know, oh, you too. Oh, he's not the only one. I see the whole group over here. Now everybody, until you have everybody sitting there, a group of 30 kids looking up at you. I said, what a smart group that we have over here. Just by emphasizing the nice things and emphasizing the good things, you create that atmosphere over here. So that's a powerful tip. The Torah is teaching us how to teach. The Torah is teaching us. The Torah means teaching. The Torah is teaching us how to teach. The Torah is teaching us how to be an imam and an abba also. And what is the Kodesh Baruch Hu doing over here? He's saying, I like what I see going on over here. Take a look at what's happening. Take a look. This is a once in history, once in all of humanity, a one-time event. That you have all of Klal Yisrael, after the Chet Egel, coming back in Tshuva and working together cooperatively. And you got the intellects and the Rosh Yeshivas and the Gedolim and the Tzaddikim. And then you got the other guys over there that know that are collecting money, the money collectors, and then you got the artisans and the workers and the parlim, and they're all working together, all for one thing. What are they working together for? They're working together in order to bring the Scheiner down into this world. That's what's happening. It's unbelievable. It's like and the Kodesh Baruch Hu is taking out the highlighter and he's saying, I like the way. I like what I see that's going on over here. Look at everybody's working together. It's not just giving emphasis and importance to one group and maybe not to the other group, right? Maybe in certain schools I saw that you have the students who are sitting in the classroom, then they got the outstanding students. Those are the ones that are outstanding in the hallway, yeah? Okay. They haven't got the Sitzfleisch. Certain people, they get a buzz, they get excited when they're looking inside a Gemara. They can sit for 3 Siddharim a day. I don't think I can sit for 3 Siddharim a day. But some people can sit there for 3 because they're excited. They're inside themselves. They're called introverts. They can sit in their minds all day long. Other people, extroverts, they got to talk. They got to schmooze. They like to talk. That's it. That's how they're built. Some people are ambiverts. They say that's the most successful. They can go in and then they go out. But I came up with a new category. Actoverts. Okay, Batzalel was an actovert. You take these kids that are in the hallway and say, you're going to charge at a library, you're going to be in charge of this, you're going to, organize the shelves, take this thing, these cards need to be organized, and you get them doing stuff. And they feel good. And they're servicing the whole building, they're servicing the whole school. And when everybody's working together and nobody's feeling excluded and everybody's contributing to Kvod Shemayim, to bring HaKadosh Baruch Hu down to the world, which is the biggest thing. V'asli migdas v'shachanti b'socham. Kodesh Baruch Hu was waiting for that invitation from Klal Yisrael. Invite me into the world. And now you have all of Klal Yisrael working together cooperatively. You have the Gvirim are giving all that enough money for all these different projects over here. And everybody, the whole thing was harmonizing. Kodesh Baruch Hu says, I like the way. And that's why we have these 4.5 Parshas. Kodesh Baruch Hu is telling us that in the newspaper from Shemayim, what's important. This is valuable. To see everybody working together. I was speaking to a parenting group. I said, you can imagine that 2 weeks before Pesach, maybe around this time of the year, suddenly husband and wife, they say, we got to get out of town. We have to go to Eretz Israel. And we're due back on Erev Pesach, coming back 3 hours before Pesach. What are we going to do? We got to do it. So they go. And you come back, it's a couple hours before Pesach, and they don't know what condition they're going to find the house. They were giving some remote instructions, and they come home, and lo and behold, this one is grinding the horseradish, and that one is making the charosis, and this one is polishing the shoes, and this one's setting up the Seder plate, and the table is set, and the candles, and everything, and you walk into the house, and you see everything humming and harmonizing, and then you wake up, Because the likelihood that that's what's going on, is, 2 chances, slim and none. You know, it's not likely that that's what's going on. But if it would happen, Lu Yitzur, right? How excited the parents would be. They wouldn't stop talking about it forever. We went away and we didn't know what we were going to find. And look at how you guys got along with each other. And look at how this one, the old one didn't bully the younger one, and the smarter one didn't take advantage of this one. And they did it. They were doing it without. It's unbelievable. And this is it's such a vitally important project that they all invited the Kodesh Baruch Hu together into the world. And the Kodesh Baruch Hu says, "V'asali migdash v'shachanti b'sochem," and that's why we have these 4.5 chunky parchas over here. It's like Yafa Sichasa, and the Kodesh Baruch Hu says, "I like what I see, and I want to highlight it, and I want to review it, and I want you to understand how important and how valuable this scene is to me forever and forever." I think it was Yanko Miller, the Batran, right? He said he went to go pick up his mother-in-law at the airport, and he said he was driving her home. And he says, "Ma," he says, "how long are you staying?" And she says, "As long as you want." He says, "You're not even coming in for a cup of coffee?" Yeah. When the Kodesh Baruch Hu offered the Torah to the other nations, they maksiv ba, you know? They don't want a Kodesh Baruch Hu to come in. You know, we'll go visit you in a separate location on a Sunday or on a Friday. You know, but we don't want you in our house. But the Mishnah Pirkei Avos says, "Yehi beischa beis vad l'chachamim." When we're preparing for Shabbos, we're inviting a Kodesh Baruch Hu into our house. We're inviting Kodesh Baruch Hu into our house. V'asali migdash v'shachanti b'sochem. I'm going to dwell in that house. And the Kodesh Baruch Hu, he should be able to look down into the world and see that, you know, if the Rosh Hashiva would come to our house for an hour, Yehi Beischa Beis Vachacham, doesn't mean that everybody's supposed to be hosting the Lakewood Rosh Hashiva when they come. That's not possible. That everyone's hosting how can they have it as a universal mandate? Yehi Beischa Beis Vachacham. Everybody has to host the shir. Some houses are not built for it. They haven't got a big enough dining room. Too many little kids running around. So I can't host the shir. He can't host the shir. They're going to go to this guy's house, but they're never going to come to my house. So how can I fulfill Yehi Beischa Beis Vachacham? So I once heard Yehi Beischa Beis Vachacham. Let your house be. That if the Lakewood Rosh Hashiva, and if the Gadol Hador, if the Rebbe would come to my house, how comfortable would I be? How many pictures would I have to turn around? How many take that computer, throw a thing over it, tell the kids, warn them that how they have to now begin to act and speak, and we have to put on some kind of and how comfortable would we be with that scene? If you tell you, I'm not just coming for an hour to give a shir, but I'm coming to move in. Ooh, I'm coming to move in. How comfortable or uncomfortable would we be with that? You're not even coming in for a cup of coffee? Yeah? So the same thing, when the Kodesh Baruch Hu is saying, I'm going to move into your house for Shabbos. I'm going to move into your life. So Yehi Beischa Beis Vachachamim. Even though there isn't the Beis Hamikdash, right? But we have Shabbos and we have homes. And those homes are the places where we invite a Kodesh Baruch Hu into our lives. So Kodesh Baruch Hu Halavai, Kodesh Baruch Hu Bez Hashem. Hashem should find it that when we should create such an atmosphere that we should feel comfortable with the Scheiner, and the Scheiner should feel comfortable with us. We should feel comfortable with Shabbos, and Shabbos should feel comfortable with us as well. With Shabbos,